Welcome to the Unfuck Your Fitness podcast. I am your host, Christy Castillo, and I'm here to give you real talk and cut the BS so you can actually enjoy building a body you love. I'm a personal trainer obsessed with giving you simple action steps to take you from feeling stuck to feeling sexy. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. Today we are going to be talking about 3 ways to get back on track. Actually 2, one is a bonus, but the ways that you can get back on track instantly after you have just had one of those moments where you're like, oh shit, I messed up. I ate too much, or I ate something that wasn't on my meal plan, or I missed a workout, or whatever it is that throws you off track and you go from that, you're in that all or nothing mentality and you're like, oh, I just really messed up. And you feel like you're going to start down that downward spiral of just that cycle of suck. And, you want something, or maybe you don't want something. You don't even know that you want something, but there are a few ways that you can have that feeling of something that makes it okay. Something that lets you know you're back on track and you're making some forward progress toward getting back on track or feeling okay. So what falling off track, or getting back on track, like falling off track is going to look different for you at certain times, right? A few things that I mentioned were you ate something off of your meal plan, or you ate too much of something, you overate, you missed a workout, like whatever it is that you think, oh God, I did something really bad. You had too many Oreos, you had a glass of wine, whatever it is for you at this stage of the fitness, journey that you're on, that can look different depending on the day, the week, the month, or whatever. That can look different for you than it can for me. So this is going to be totally dependent on the situation, like what it is that threw you off track, like I said, where you're at in your journey and how you want to get back on track. I don't have the all or nothing mentality at all anymore. But as I was coming out of it, I found that there were a couple things that I'm going to share with you that I could do that helped me instantly feel better. So I always just wanted to feel like I was making some sort of progress. It's interesting because when I was obviously thinking about doing this episode, I always have to go back in every episode and I have to go back through my journey and really think about where I started, because that could be where you are at right now, and think about the steps that it took me to get to where I am. There's a lot in between, I'm going to be honest, but it's hard for me to go back because when I first started my health and fitness journey, like really, really started, I had just had my son who's now 14. So that was 14 years is a really long time ago. I went through a lot to get to where I am. Had I have had someone or like a podcast like this or someone like me to be in my corner, I could have gotten through this a lot faster. But sometimes it feels like, I think that I did it so gradually that sometimes it feels like where I am now is just where I've been for so long, but it's not, because I was actually even on a coaching call yesterday with a brand new client. And so we were talking about some of her, struggles and her mindsets. And that happens a lot to me with newer clients or any client that I'm talking to. Really, they will say something and I'll be like, oh my God, I actually still struggle with that sometimes, to where I think that, not that I ever think that I have it all figured out. That's not at all what I am saying. But there are a lot of times where I'm like, oh yeah, I've overcome this. And like, I don't struggle with, XYZ anymore. And I don't struggle with the all or nothing mentality, but I do struggle sometimes with getting back on track instantly. And so I still use these tools that I'm going to talk to you about. But when I look back on where I started, I was very much all or nothing. Every single thing that I did, it seems like, threw me off track. So I don't want you to think that you are like failing or you're doing something wrong, because I think this all or nothing mentality is just so ingrained in us. So For example, when I first started, I started with a 90-day program. It was a Beachbody program. It was P90X. I actually loved that program. I loved it. My husband and I did it together, and like we saw really, really good results from that program. And the reason is because we were like obsessive about it, which, okay, you know, it is what it is. But in that moment, I was all or nothing, meaning that I was eating off of a meal plan. I was eating off of a food list. I would measure everything, or, you know, in the containers, or I would measure everything. I didn't want to miss a workout. I remember being quite far into that workout program. We went 30 days without missing a single workout. And I do remember, I think it was my daughter's dance recital. We went for pizza afterwards with a bunch of us, you know, family and stuff, to celebrate. And I remember having a piece of pizza. See, when I go back and think about my journey, it's like all these little things pop up that like, oh my gosh, Kara, I can't believe that happened. Like, it's just things that I forget about. Anyway, I was having a piece of pizza, and I remember thinking, well, I was good for 30 days. You know, I can have a piece of pizza. And yeah, like I did. And I remember feeling like, oh crap, you know, like I had this piece of pizza. And I remember very shortly after that, missing a Wednesday was yoga day. We freaking hated it. And I remember after having that pizza, we kind of started skipping a few of the yoga days. And so in my head, I'm relating that and being like, okay, you know, me slipping up and having a piece of pizza then made it be like, okay, well, now I don't have to do yoga. You know, like it's that downward cycle that I was saying, like, I definitely have struggled with that too. So back to what I was saying, when I started with that all or nothing mentality, eating from a list, eating from a meal plan, meal prepping everything, hitting my macros. I wasn't even doing macros at that point, hitting my servings per day, no matter what, getting my workouts in, no matter what. And I felt really, really good while I was on track. Well, then we actually went through a move. We moved out of our home to a different home, which didn't have the same space to work out. We were then adjusting to obviously ourselves moving to a new town, a new home. We had little baby children. So it was really hard. And that all or nothing mentality led us to being like, we were all in, right? Until the situation happened where we couldn't be all in anymore. And then we went back to eating like stacks of Oreos at night, my husband and I. And like, so I've definitely been there. And it's like, I felt like if I couldn't eat from a meal plan and I couldn't get all of my workouts in and I was messing up, like, what was the point? I might as well sit around in the evening and have a stack of Oreos. So I've definitely been there. I have, you know, graduated like gradually through the years to where I am now. And I have learned different tools like the ways that I'm going to tell you that will help you to be able to get on track. Now, I'm not saying that these are like a magic formula or something that will definitely help you instantly. They will help you instantly in some situations, but there are some times where your mentality is still going to be like, even though you did these things and you feel a little bit better, like you still suck, right? It takes a while. And so I want to definitely let you know that as well. I'm not one to just throw you a podcast episode with some tips and be like, okay, here you go. And should be perfect. Like if you do these things and your mindset is still like, you still suck. You still fell off track. You still might not be able to do this. You still have to work on shutting that up, right? And what I want you to keep doing is keep doing these things, because as you keep doing these things that will make you feel better, that will get you back on the right track, like those are reps in the right direction. Those are, as you do this, your mind, your body, you know, you will start to realize like, oh, this is what we do now. We're okay, right? We messed up. We are trying something new to feel better, and that's going to work. We just have to keep at it, right? So I just wanted to preface all of this with, this is something that may or may not work for you. It definitely will if you give it some time, which you have to do with everything, right? For me personally, I still, like I said, I don't struggle with the all or nothing mentality at all, but I do still have times where I go overboard on certain foods. Reese's, Oreos, mini Cadbury eggs right now. It is what it is. And I will feel like shit. So this totally applies to me, like I said, in the sense that, falling off track for you may not look like what it looks like for me. I don't ever think like, oh, I just fell off track, but I will say out loud to whoever's in the room with me, like, oh my God, I shouldn't have eaten that much, right? Or of that thing, or I shouldn't have even eaten that thing at all, just because it hurts my stomach, not because it's over my macros or not because it's a carb or whatever. But like, sometimes that for me is like when I feel like I need to start doing these steps that I'm going to share with you. It's more so when like I ate so much that my stomach hurts, from my digestion issues and things like that. So I still practice these things. It'll just look a little bit different. I'm going to give you some examples. So let's dive into these tips. 3 ways, 2 and a bonus, that you can get back on track instantly when you feel like you have fallen off track, you effed up, like, right? We need ways to like almost instantly get our mindset back. Otherwise, you're going to be like, oh God, I missed my workout. Now I might as well eat all the things. I'm start over on Monday. Like, it can really just be this downward cycle if you don't have something to stop it. So number 1 is something that's going to stop that immediately. First of all, I would love for your mindset to be like, it's okay that you messed up. You're okay. But if you're not at that place yet, doing something that makes you feel better immediately is so good. So taking some action. This for me is actually drinking my greens because, like I said, for me, when I've fucked up, it looks like I ate something that makes my stomach hurt. And so instantly I regret like the choice that I made to eat that food because my stomach is freaking hurting. So what I will do is go grab my greens and drink some greens, because very shortly after drinking the greens that I drink, my stomach starts to feel so much better. So instantly I have some relief and I feel like, okay, I just did something that's putting me back to where I want to be. I feel better mentally, like, yes, I ate the thing. It tasted really good. I don't really regret it, but like, ow, my stomach hurts. I need to do something to change that. So for me, that's drinking my greens. For you, this could look like also drinking your greens, or this could look like drinking a glass of water, because that's something you can do very, very quickly to be like, okay, that's healthy for me. I'm back on the right track. Let's move forward. This can look like going for a walk. This can look like drinking a protein shake. It's basically taking some action really, really quickly that makes you feel better immediately. I don't really want this to be something that you write down or like a mindset kind of thing. I want you to take some freaking action. Drink a protein shake. Go drink a huge glass of water because that's good for your body. Go for a walk. Go do a workout if you need to. Get your butt to the gym. Drop everything you're doing and do something healthy, health and fitness wise, that will make you feel better immediately. For me, this is always drinking my greens because they make me feel better, regardless of whether I'm going to go work out, go for a walk, do all the other things. It's just like, for me, I think if you can find one of those things or whatever it is that you take action on, if you can find something that makes you feel better immediately, that makes you, let me say that again, that makes you feel better immediately. If you try one of these things and you're like, well, that didn't really help. Drinking my greens didn't help me at all, Christy. That doesn't make me feel like I'm making any progress. That's fine. Figure out what works for you. But if you can find something that makes you feel better immediately, the next time you miss a workout, you go off your meal plan. Hopefully you're not on a meal plan. I hate those. But whatever it is where you're at right now in your journey, if you find something that you're like, oh my God, I effed up, I need to go do this. For me, it's like, oh my God, I ate, my stomach freaking hurts. I need to go drink my greens. Boom, back on track. It's like they canceled each other out in my head. So that's number 1. Do something that makes you feel better immediately. Then instantly you're like, okay, I'm okay. I'm back on track. I'm good. Then you want to do something that sets you up for success for that week. So you feel better immediately. So now you want to set your mindset into moving forward instead of being like, this is where you can almost pull back and be like, okay, I drank my greens, but like I still messed up, right? I still failed. I shouldn't have done that. You can still go back into that negative cycle. Instead of that, do something that sets you up for success that week. Schedule your workouts, plan your week, plan your meals, meal prep. Throw the thing away that you keep eating that makes you feel like shit. Get your mind moving forward and off the fact that you just messed up or whatever you're telling yourself, right? You fell off track, you messed up, you suck. Whatever you're telling yourself, you want to do something to plan ahead to like maybe not do that again, right? If you missed 2 days of workouts because your schedule is just falling apart, maybe it's time for you to get out your calendar and be like, or your planner and be like, okay, something's not working. Something has thrown me off. Something's changed with the kids or the spouse or work or my mindset, whatever, like something's not working. So get out the calendar, take action and figure it out. If you have shit in your house that you keep eating that's throwing you off track, get that out of your house until you are in the right mindset and you're tracking your macros and you know you're okay to where you can handle that, right? If you keep screwing up dinner and you just keep eating out and you're not like planning ahead and you don't have the right groceries, get out a piece of paper and write down some meals and write down some groceries and go shopping. Like do something that will help you feel successful that week. So first we do something that will feel better, make you feel better immediately. Next, we do something that will help you feel successful that week. So you felt better instantly. And then you're like, okay, moving forward for just this week, right? Even if it's Friday, like how the next 2 days, how can I finish out this week strong? If you frick up on a Tuesday, how can I finish out the rest of this week strong? That way, you know, you feel better right now and you're going to feel better for the rest of the week. And let's say you do that and you still screw up the next day, do this again. And let's say you still screw up the next day, do it again, because eventually this is going to be a habit and you're gonna be like, God, I am so sick of messing up, right? That's when you change, is when you're sick and tired of feeling how you are. You have to be sick and tired of it. So keep doing these good habits and eventually they will become a habit and you will do them without even thinking. The last one is a bonus. I really like this one, but this number 3 is something that keeps you healthy long term. So you've done the thing that makes you feel better immediately. You've done something that sets you up for success for that week. And then if you want to take it one further, sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't, I'll be honest. Start to think about your long-term goal and how this one mistake didn't actually hurt you as much as you think it did, right? Sometimes it's one meal, you mess up one day, you missed a workout, whatever it is, and you're like beating yourself up. If you look at the big picture and you think, okay, how can I keep myself healthy long-term? Well, this one day probably didn't really matter as much as I think it did, or missing this one workout probably isn't as big of a deal as I think it is. So that's first, to be like, okay, let's realize that, because going forward, there's a lot of days in front of me that I can do good, whereas this one shouldn't ruin everything. For me, doing something that keeps me healthy long-term is looking into like more supplements for me. That's what this looks like for me, because for me, like I said, when I mess up, it's more so like I ate something that messed up my stomach, right? So that's me being healthy on the inside. And so I will drink my greens. I will plan a little bit better to maybe not eat so much of that candy. Or how can I, what can I have that's like something sweet in the middle or end of my day that will make me maybe not crave a Reese's so much, or 2 or 3 of them to hurt my stomach. So for me, it's like thinking about healthy from the inside out, because that's a stomach issue for me. So I will actually go and be like, okay, Christy, you really need to focus on your greens, or you really need to get more protein in if you're going to, maybe not treat your body as good. That's something like if I'm overeating on foods that are making me feel like crap, how can I maybe order some more protein powder and figure out how to make a protein mug cake that's really high in protein, but it's also really, really sweet. And so it'll curb my sweet tooth. I'm going to look into like getting some collagen, getting a multivitamin, some supplements, to where now my mindset is thinking, okay, healthy, healthy, healthy. Christy, how can you be more healthy? Treat your body kindly instead of just feeding it this junk, right? So it all starts from within. So I like to treat this number 3 bonus as something that keeps me healthy long-term. I've even recently purchased fish oil because it's called Full Mega, but like that's the basis of your health. I love to take a new multivitamin. I will get some magnesium, anything that's like, what can I check into that will actually help me be healthier. I bought some joint supplements a while back because I need them. I also wear knee sleeves, but my knees hurt really bad sometimes. I'm like, okay, I need some joint supplements. So it's like taking my mindset from, okay, I overate, I feel like shit, my stomach actually hurts. It's like making these god awful noises. It's really ticked. I had my greens. I set myself up for success for the rest of the week. And now it's like, how can I take that further and really, really make myself healthy and treat myself kindly? Again, for you, this can look like if you are in a bad habit of, missing your workouts and you just can't get back on track. Keep trying this, but what's something you can maybe add to your workouts that'll make it more exciting? So for long term, can you purchase a new step? Do you need a new kettlebell? Do you need some new ankle weights? Do you need some new booty bands that are bright colors and fun and cute? Like what can you, and it doesn't have to be something you can purchase necessarily, but for me, that seems to work. It's like something to get me refocused and back on track long term. So it can always be something, supplements. It can be something that you purchase for your workouts, or it can be just like sitting down with setting some new standards for yourself, like we talked about last week, and really diving into like, okay, what is going on? Maybe I need some more self-care. Maybe I need to take some more bubble baths. Maybe I need to just schedule less freaking workouts and go for a walk instead if I can't get them all in. So just kind of thinking about that long term. Maybe you need to sign up for some coaching. Maybe you need some accountability to have someone to walk you through these things so you don't keep falling off track. So number 3, like I said, it's a bonus. It's not something that you would have to do necessarily every single time, but it's a way to take it from feeling better immediately to feeling like you're going to have a really good week to how can I keep this going? How can I get excited? How can I get rejuvenated, right, in my journey? And a lot of times that does help me to go one step further. That really, really helps me. So I hope this is really helpful. Again, I'm just going to break them down one more time in case you need to write down. Just write down immediately, do something that makes you feel better immediately for that whole week, and long-term health. Those are kind of what you need to do to keep yourself on track. This will help you. This really, really helped me. As I did this over time, I noticed that finally I wasn't in that all or nothing mentality anymore. Of course, what helped me with that also was getting on a workout plan that I enjoyed and that I was seeing results from, hitting my macros, not restricting foods, all the things I've talked about in all the other episodes. But this is a way, the first 2 steps especially, are a good way to like create new habits to where I felt like I was doing something proactive instantly, to where I didn't have to wait for the next Monday to start over. I didn't have to go all the way down this crappy cycle to where I was just feeling like I was drowning. It was like I could instantly pull myself out and be like, okay, I'm okay. So I hope this is really helpful for you. I always want to bring you tips that are like practical, that you can do as a busy mama, busy woman, busy whoever you are listening to this. I want to bring you tips that are applicable and you can do quickly to see some quick wins and get you back on track. I hope you enjoyed this episode and I will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening to today's show. Go ahead and leave a rating and a review. And of course, follow the podcast so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And I would love it so much if you came to connect with me over on Instagram at Christy Castillo Fit. I will see you next time.